First, I want to say welcome to my channel and please like and subscribe. And I hope, excuse me, I have to turn this music down a little bit. I hope you enjoy everything that we talk about here today. The topic for today is I matter. I matter. Um, I work with women all the time, and quite often, them and even myself, we complain about feeling like what we say doesn't matter or how we feel doesn't matter. And, this could just be us internalizing something. We could be feeling like we don't matter or something like that. Or it could really stem from something. So today we're going to talk about I matter and why you matter and what do we have to do to get over that feeling, get over that hump where we're feeling like we're not valued in situations, in relationships, whether relationships be with a mate or it could be at work. Sometimes we feel undervalued at work, or we feel like everybody could say the same thing, because I hear this from clients all the time, that everybody else says the same or I might say something, and then when somebody else says it, it's heard. It's like, didn't I just say that? Sometimes when I hear the stories, it sounds like things that I've seen on TV. Like, you can say the same thing that somebody else heard, but the collective hears somebody else, and your voice is not heard. So feeling like you don't matter, feeling like your voice isn't heard, those things, sometimes we draw them to ourselves because of things we haven't healed in our lifetime. And sometimes they actually are just what they are. Maybe somebody just doesn't give a darn about you and you haven't picked that up yet and moved on. So anyway, we're going to touch on a few things, and then at the end I'm going to share something that you can do to help yourself in this situation, and I might share some things as we go along, and I just want to have fun with this topic. So I matter. First thing I want to tell you is you do matter, and you must matter to yourself first and foremost, and you must love yourself first and foremost. So I think that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about. What I did for this session is I allowed some cards to flip out of a few different decks, a few different oracle decks that might relate to the topic. And then I said, okay, these will be my topic, my points, as I'm doing this little discussion with you guys. So the first one is self-love, loving yourself. And I know people say that all the time, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? We think that we love ourselves. Like, do I really not love myself? I think I love myself. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing that we should touch on. Like, what does that mean? How does it feel when you love yourself and when you don't love yourself? What do you accept when you don't love yourself? That's one thing right there. I know I remember when I was younger, when I was in college, so I don't know, I think I was late teens, and in my early 20s, I used to have this rule. And today the rule seems so stupid, but back then I had this rule, and it was called the 3 strikes rule. So if you did something and we had a discussion about it, and then you did it again and we had a discussion about it, and then you did it again, well, the third time, that's it. I'm not talking about it anymore, because you're not a kid, I'm not a kid. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to be repeating myself 24/7. But one of the things that I didn't like that men would do back when I was young, I called it no call, no show. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? If you're supposed to meet with a person, you're supposed to have a date, or you're supposed to get together, or you're supposed to have a conversation or something, and you just don't freaking show up and you don't even call, like, who the hell does that? I just, even in my younger days, I thought that was ludicrous. Like, I can't believe that somebody would treat somebody like that, because I mean, Lord, you can't even be a person of your word to just show up when you say you're going to show up. That was just too much for me. So I had that rule. If you do that 3 times, it's out. And I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell my mates, whoever I was dating or whoever was trying to date me or whatever. I didn't tell them that. But after 3 times, I was good. I'm like, okay, this is a pattern, and yeah, bye for that. So later when I looked at it, I thought, as I grew up, I thought 3 strikes. Why should somebody have 3 strikes as something like that? You know what I mean? If you treat me like that one time, that's it. Because you're showing me that you really don't give a shit about me. Because it wasn't, I could be dressed and ready to go, and I'm waiting. You just don't show up. What kind of bull crap is that? So I had to learn that wasn't acceptable. If you did that at a job, if you no call, no showed at a job, you would be fired, right? So why do you get to do that to me 3 times and I accept it? You get 3 times to totally disrespect and disregard me before I'll put my foot down. Doormat, that's what I was, a freaking doormat, okay? And I remember one time I said, you know what? I'm gonna put a doormat on my mirror. So if I ever decide to allow poor treatment, I will have that as a reminder. You're being a doormat. You're being a doormat. And so, but anyway, thank God I didn't have to do it. Just the memories of little instances where I totally disregarded myself and didn't love myself enough to stand up for myself. That was enough for me to not do it again. But that is one way that you can show yourself that you love yourself, and you're also showing whoever it is that's trying to date you that you love yourself, because you're not going to stand for no foolish shenanigans. Okay. And if you don't have no home training and know that if you're not going to show up, or if you're running late, that you should say something, then bye. Okay. Especially if you're supposed to be trying to make a good impression. You know what I mean? I remember one of my friends, she told me that her grandmother told her that the first 90 days that you're dating somebody, they on their P's and Q's. So if they screwing up in the first 90 days, you really want to look at them cross-eyed, right? So, I mean, that's one thing that you can look at. So you might want to look at how you show up in relationships, all types, friendships, friendships as well, not just with a mate. How do you show up? What do you accept? Do you accept people taking advantage of you all the time? If you do, then you need to look at yourself. Now, as you're working with me, you're going to be looking at yourself quite a bit. Now, as you analyze scenarios, you might look at the other person in the scenario, but in all actuality, we can only fix ourselves, and we can only really work on ourselves. So that's what this is going to be about, working on yourself, not trying to fix him or trying to fix her. Okay, we are going to work on ourselves. We are going to love ourselves so much so that we attract exactly what we desire, what we require, and what we deserve in this lifetime. So over this process, over the next year, we're going to go through many exercises where we can slowly get to that point where our love is just exuding from us, and then all we attract is that kind of love right back. We want to give and receive love, okay? But we're going to first start with loving ourselves. So to love ourselves first, we're going to stop being a doormat. And all of us have different scenarios on where we've been a doormat, or where we have accepted poor treatment, or where we have allowed people to take advantage of us. Or, I interviewed for a position at a place, and it was for a director position, a director of their I'm not even going to go into it because I don't want to, anybody to be all up in that part of my beeswax, but I was interviewing for a director position, and the money that they were offering wasn't what I desired. And I was like, well, this is what I propose. And like, if I'm proposing this and you're telling me, oh, okay, we can do that. We'll do something and then we'll build up to that. And then when you come back, you're like offering like 10,000 less. Like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like, bye. No. Now, as they say, what's that show? That show is so funny to me. My Wife and Kids. Damon Wayans always goes, nah. That's what I wanted to say. Nah. So I love myself enough because I already know when I work, I put in over 100%. If you could do that, I put in the work. I do whatever I do. I really try to do my best, and I go above and beyond. And because of that, I need to be paid the way I want to be paid. If I'm gonna work for you, you gonna pay me the way I want to be paid. Okay. Otherwise, what's the incentive of me working for somebody else if you're not gonna pay me what I want to get paid? Because I already know I'm gonna do the work and I'm gonna perform because that's what I do. I'm gonna do more than you asked for. So anyway, if I would have accepted that position, I would have felt like I didn't love myself enough. You know what I mean? So you have to look at your own situation. You have to look at your own circumstances. Look at how you show up in your friendships. Do you always allow your friends to talk to you any old kind of way just because they're going through something, and then treat you like some bullshittiga, and then come back later and smile all in your face like they didn't just act like a fool. You know what I mean? And no apology. Sometimes you deal with these people, they trample all over you and then they never apologize. It's like, what is that? On what planet do we do that? On what planet do you just hurt somebody and you can't even apologize? I've even heard people say, I don't apologize. I I don't know that's some different kind of rearing. I wasn't raised like that. You know what I mean? So if that's you, okay, more power to you. That's not me. And I feel like I can own up and say when I have done something wrong and when I have made an error, I can own up to my mistakes. I don't care. You know what I mean? Because guess what? I'm human and I'm not perfect. And I'm like, whatever. If I made a mistake, sorry, how can we fix that? Let's fix it. And that's me. That's me in business. That's me all over. I'm just like an open book. I really don't care that much that I can't admit that I was wrong. Whatever. Let's fix that. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's love ourselves, everybody. Let's be open to giving and receiving love. Open and to be giving and receiving love. And one thing you could do, like an exercise you can do, you can stand in the mirror and you can say it in your head and you can breathe and you can say, I'm open to giving and receiving love. And you can do this, right? And just inhale and exhale. You can do that. And that's going to do a number of things. That's going to get you breathing because a lot of us don't breathe. So that's one thing that it can do, get you to breathing. And then it's opening up that breath and allowing your body to expand and contract. Okay. And then it's helping your spinal fluids to flow, just breathing in that prana, breathing in that energy, breathing in that air, So you can do that. I'm open to giving and receiving love. I'm open to giving and receiving love. I say it in your head and breathe and do it because breathing is so, 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 so important. Okay. So that's just one little exercise. As we go on this journey, you will have many. All right. And I try to make things really simple, easy. And so you don't have to go, spending $1,000 or buying a whole bunch of stuff or, lotions and potions and everything. I love lotions and potions, but sometimes you can just visualize and it works. Okay. Believe me, it works. So that's loving yourself. Okay. Now, the first card that I pulled out or that popped out was Do it for you. Do it for you. I was like, wow, do it for yourself. You know, why does it always have to be that you're doing something for somebody else? Do it for yourself. You know, look nice for yourself. Put a smile on your face for yourself. Because you know what? When you put a smile on your face, you actually feel better. I walk around, I smile a lot. I remember when I was in college, maybe this is why I smile a lot. Because when I was in undergraduate school, um, I would walk through the student union and people would say, smile, smile, smile. And I used to be like, what the hell? Everybody be, why I got to walk around smiling? You ain't smiling, you know. But I think once I looked at myself in the mirror, I caught myself not smiling. And I was like, oh, I look like a mean mugging you. Is that why you're telling me to smile? Okay. All right. So, but honestly, sometimes I'm deep in thought and I'm not smiling. And then I catch myself and you know, because you can read me all over here. It's really hard for me to, that's why I don't be lying because you will be able to tell if I was lying. So, you know, I I keep a smile on my face. Not all the time, you know. I'm not always happy. But I tell you, I could cry and start laughing at the same time. But anyway, that might be the Gemini in me. So anyway, I put a smile on my face because that makes me feel good. That helps when you change your state, just changing your face. When you change your state, you can change your state of being. You can change your thoughts. When you change your words, you can change your state of being. It's when you change your posture. If you walk around like this, then you're going to feel like this. If you walk around like this, you're gonna feel like this. I'm like, you know what? I used to be a pom pom when I was in high school. And we used to have to smile. It was like I had a smile pasted on my face. But anyway, smile. It really does work. Smile. I used to tell people to say, I feel super fantastic. Okay. So when I was in Sacramento, I used to speak like at least 5 times a week, doing different presentations, doing different trainings and everything, right? At least 5 times a week before an audience. And I would go after one of my business partners and he was like so heady, like the information he was given was so in your head. It was like overwhelming to people. People be sitting there like a deer in headlights, like, what? What the hell? Because it was so kind of like on a high level that you had to really focus, and he spoke really fast and it was like, what? So anyway, I would go after him. And so I go up in front of the audience and everybody's looking at me like overwhelmed. And I'd be like, all right, everybody stand up. And so I would make the whole audience stand up and I would not start talking until they all stood up because you just don't know what it's like talking to an audience that's looking at you like a deer in headlights, like with no energy, no emotion, because they're overwhelmed with everything that they've just received. They're like, oh, you know. And so I make everybody stand up and I would say, okay, throw your hands in the air. Okay. Wait, Mike, you just don't care. No, I didn't say that. But I would say, throw your hands in the air and do like this. And so they would have to put their hands in the air like this. And I said, okay, so on the count of 3, I want you to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And then I would go, okay, so you would have to say, I feel super fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this crazy piece of hair right here. Okay, so you would say, I feel super fantastic, right? But you would have to go like this, I feel super fantastic, okay? So on the count of 3, and then I made them say it 3 times because they were going to shake off all of that stuck energy that they had on them, all of that mind blown, you know, energy that they had on them. They were going to shake that off so that I could speak and y'all could engage with me. Because Because it ain't nothing like talking to somebody and they not engaging with you. I like engagement. So I would say 1, 2, 3. I feel super fantastic. And I would tell them you have to smile when you say it. And I kid you not, I would make people, you didn't smile. We got to do it again. And I will go around the audience. You got to do it. You cannot, you got to do it right. And the people would be like, oh my God, because these people, some of them were guests, some people came regularly, but a lot of people, they didn't know who the heck I was, who this crazy girl up here telling us to say I feel super fantastic. What the hell is a super fantastic? But anyway, changing your state, changing what you do, doing like this, I feel super fantastic. Even in my coaching, when I coached people back then, I would make them, if they felt really, really funky and I could tell because I'm empathic, I'd be like, stop, raise hands in the air. I say, go, I feel super fantastic. And I say, and say it until I say stop. Do it until I say stop. And I make them do it. I feel super fantastic. And they would be like this, I feel super fantastic. I feel super fantastic. And then they keep doing it until they bust out laughing because you really do feel a little stupid. So, and it worked. It changed their state. Now they don't feel in a funk anymore. Now let's have our conversation. Okay? Because you just had to shake that off. You had to change your state. You have to put a smile on your face, even if it's fake, until that joker turn into a laugh. Okay? So those are some things that you can do for yourself. Do it for yourself. Make yourself happy for yourself. Shake off that drudgery for yourself. When you leave the job, y'all at a workplace, and it's like full of negative energy, you might need to do that. Go to the bathroom, do it. If you feel that negative stuff jumping on you, go shake it off. I feel super fantastic. Go stand outside and breathe in some oxygen. Inhale. Oh, well, now you got a mask on, so I don't know. You ain't gonna get no oxygen. I'm sorry. That wasn't funny, but it was. Okay. So I still say go outside and put a little mask down so you can breathe. Just go outside and breathe in 12, 13 breaths before somebody catch you and shout at you to put your mask on. I'm sorry. But anyway, do little things for yourself. Do it for you. You know what I mean? Get your pedicure, get your manicure for yourself. Go get a new outfit for yourself. Paint your fingernails yourself for yourself. Make up your face for yourself. Do the stuff for yourself. Do your hair for yourself. You know what I mean? I call the virus the cucarachas, okay? I got that from a young lady named Flurbrun. So, the cucarachas, with that out here, sometimes we don't make up our faces anymore because half the face is covered anyway. Still, make your face up for yourself. If you like how you look with your face made up, make your face up for yourself. You know what I mean? Do what you got to do for yourself. Exercise for yourself. Do your breathing exercises for yourself. Don't wait until you have a mate to have to do these things for yourself. Take yourself out to the movies. With the cucarachas, I don't know about the movies. But take yourself out somewhere. Go walk in the park. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about that. Because that is a Debbie Downer. Okay, so anyway, I'm talking about the cucarachas. But anyway, do wonderful things for yourself. It doesn't have to be that somebody else has to do something to bring you up. Bring yourself up. Take responsibility for yourself because you can only improve yourself. Somebody else coming in this door is not going to improve you unless they're your therapist or your coach or something like that. Okay? But hopefully that's not your mate. We don't want our mates to be our therapists and our coaches. At least I don't think so. I don't want my mate to be my therapist or my coach. No, thank you. But anyway, do some wonderful things for yourself. Now, another card that popped out was take off your mask. I'm going to show you the card too. Take off your mask. Take it off. All right, so let me tell you a little story. I'm full of stories. All right, I was at this event. Oh my gosh, when was it? Might have been 2000. I think I was at this event in 2000. And so I went to this event and it was called Breakthroughs to Success with a friend of mine, Jeffrey Combs. This piece of hair. It's always a piece of hair on this side that's driving me crazy. Anyway, Jeffrey had this event called Breakthroughs to Success. He still has it. I don't know how they do it now with cucarachas and everything. It's probably all online. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I've gone to his events a number of times now, but this was my first time. And it was a 3-day event, I think. And I went in there, and the first day, we're doing all the little exercises and everything, and it was really good. But I was just like, I was just like, yeah, okay, whatever. I thought I was all that in a bag of chips, right? And so I'm in there at this little retreat. And so I remember telling my business partner, I don't know why I'm here. These people, I don't know. I don't feel like I have some of the issues that they have. And, I was all, thinking I was all that, right? And the next day it dawned, or it was that night, the evening session is when it hit me that I was wearing a mask. I was like, wow. And I think I probably burst into tears. I'm a crier. So I probably burst into tears or something. I can't even remember now. It's been so many years ago. It was 2000. That was a whole long time ago. So, but I remember recognizing that I was wearing a big ass mask and nobody really knew who I was behind that mask. Everybody saw me as the leader. I was a business owner. I ran multiple businesses. What part of my journey was that? 2000. What was going on then? I had a lot going on, but I was the one up front. So, and my partner used to say, partner, never let him see you sweat. That's how he would say it. Partner, always call me partner. So, never let him see you sweat. I disagree with that to this, now. But, back then I was in my 20s, late 20s, I think. Never let him see you sweat. And I was like, okay, so behind closed doors is when I would sweat. I would let it all out behind closed doors. I would cry and I would just, I would journal. I really didn't feel good. Back then, I used to journal and write down negative things. I don't do that anymore. But because of what I was learning, never let them see you sweat and everything, I just had this great big mask on and nobody knew what was up until I started to really take my power back. And we're not going to get into that today because we are going to get into that on this journey. But I had a mask on and I had to really get vulnerable to release that mask. And I remember we did this exercise, Lord, and I had to share in front of 32 people, 31 people, my story. I had to share my story. I had to be vulnerable. Excuse me. I had to let people know. I didn't have to, but I did because this was part of my process of healing. This was part of my breakthrough. And it was amazing to have that breakthrough. It was amazing to take off my mask and tell 31 strangers my truth and cry and receive help from 31 strangers. That was awesome. So I tell you, You don't have to do it in front of 31 strangers. But I do retreats now. I do healing events. I have group programs where you can take your mask off and really talk to me or talk to the group. And what I encourage you to do as you're working with us on this journey over the next year to loving yourself the most and choosing yourself, what I want you to do is work with me and take off that mask. Be who you truly are. Be your true, authentic self. And know that it's okay. And you will be in a loving space where you will not be judged. Now, we might laugh because I laugh a lot. As you can see, I laugh at everything. Okay. So I might laugh, but it's not like I'm going to be laughing at you like there's something wrong with you. I laugh. Okay. I'm just saying I laugh at everything. But you're not going to feel like you're being laughed at if I do laugh. Okay. But anyway, I want you to be vulnerable and I want you to take off your mask and I want you to practice taking off your mask. And only you are going to know what that means for you. For me, I revealed to people a struggle that I was going through. I revealed to people some abuse that I was dealing with and that I allowed in my life. I was dealing with that and nobody knew. And I'm just saying sometimes it's easier to share with a group of strangers than it is to share with your best friend. So that's one thing that I want everybody to work on is taking that mask off and be your true authentic self. Because if you think you're going to attract a soul connection, an amazing divine connection, an awesome mate, or if you think you're going to grow a healthy relationship with a mate you already have, or even with friends, if you think you can do that wearing a mask, you're only fooling yourself. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, when you work with me, I see through the mask. So you might as well take it off because I see through it. I mean, with my gifts, I just see right through it. I see all the bullshit. So I will be looking at you like, okay, one day she going to tell me that this is going on and I'll just let her be right there until she ready to tell me. So, and don't feel bad that I could see through you. We can just have fun with that. So anyway, take your mask off. Now, the next thing that popped up was letting go. Well, actually, it was self-love, but we already talked about that. Letting go. Letting go. Sometimes you gotta let go. Okay, you got to let go sometimes of many different things. Sometimes you have to let go of control. Sometimes we're too controlling. Sometimes we have our fixed way of thinking things should go. And if they don't go that way, we lose our minds. And in order to vibrate high, you really have to release the reins of control sometimes. Sometimes you have to let go of your perspective. I teach people that I work with that everybody has their own sunglasses. Now I know these ain't sunglasses. These are regular glasses. But everybody has their own pair, you know what I mean? And what I could see through these spectacles, if you put them on, you might see something totally different. You might not be able to see, even though my sight is not too bad, so you probably could see in my glasses. But everybody has their own set of sunglasses, and everyone sees a scenario in their way. They see it the way they see it. So you have to be open to other people's perspectives and be open to the fact that my name, and this is what I say to people all the time. Okay, well, my name is Rorree, and this is how I see it. Or if somebody is trying to impose their views on me and make me feel the way they feel, and they're getting upset because I'm not in agreement with what they're saying, I simply say, okay, let's just remember that my name is Rorree and your name is whatever your name is. Okay? And we are different. We wear two different sets of sunglasses, and both sunglasses are nice. I like mine, and I like yours too, but they're not the same. So you're going to have to start letting go of having to control people, trying to force your views on somebody else. I really don't care what somebody else thinks. I think this, you think that, okay, whatever. Agreeing to disagree is a part of just releasing and letting go. Okay. There was a book that when I used to teach people how to be successful in business and successful in network marketing. And there was a book that everybody had to read called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, because in reality, it's all small stuff. And that is really a rule to live by. And I would say, like, what difference will this make in 1 year? What difference will this scenario make? Like, if you think this and I think that, and we just at an impasse, you think this and I think that, well, think about the thing that you're thinking about. If you think this and I think that, and we just agree to disagree in 30 days, what difference would it have made that we had a difference of viewpoint? Would it make a difference? Probably not. Okay. Would it make a difference in a year? Would it make a difference in 5 years? If it wouldn't, can we just agree to disagree? Sometimes I have people explaining things to me over and over that, like, well, this happened and that happened. Well, if this didn't happen, da 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 da. Okay, so we could share that we could have that conversation, but we don't have to have it 10 times, because if we're saying the same thing over and over, just let it go. I mean, I really don't care. If something didn't get done the way it should have gotten done, does it really matter why? I mean, we know why. We've already worked on preventing that from happening again. Like, do we have to keep talking about it? Can we just let it go? Right? Because to keep talking about it, guess what we're doing? We're reliving it. We're reliving all the negative information, the negative feelings and everything. And so letting go. Sometimes when we have had a past trauma, this is one of the reasons why when I am in the therapist role, which I don't really like, but when I am in the therapist role, I do alternative ways of wellness, because sometimes you talk about your scenario and then I have to see you every week. And then you come back next week and you talk about your scenario and we talk about solutions or whatever, next steps or whatever. Then you come back and we talk about just, God damn, how many times we gotta talk about the same thing? Like, really? You know what I mean? I'm like, can we go to some solutions? Can we work on resolving this? Let's heal this situation. Because damn, if I have to hear that story one more time, I might slip my wrist. No, I'm joking. But I'm sorry, that's not funny. But sometimes when you continue speaking about a situation, you relive it. You know what I mean? Especially me. If I talk about something that happened, I often can talk about it in the same energy of when it first happened. So, like, if I was upset when it first happened, and when I share the situation with you, I can speak to the situation with the same freaking energy. So what am I doing? I'm reliving that. When you're reliving this pain, this trauma, this pain, you're reliving it, it's going into your body. Your body is being affected by this trauma. So when you take a long time to get over stuff, you know what I mean? When you're like dwelling on some old damn trauma for 50 years, good God, let it go. Because you are doing nothing but killing your mind, body, and spirit with dredging up that shoulda go over and 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 over again, especially in the same energy and with the same emotion that you felt when you experienced it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, like, okay. And then, so it's important to let it go and learn from it. And that's probably how it makes it kind of easier to let it go if you learn from whatever it was. So if you're having an experience and you're reliving it over and over, then you may want to look at the experience and take responsibility for your part in it. And that's the first thing I do when there is a situation. And I can't say it's always the first thing that I do, but it's one of the top things that I do when there is a situation that hurt or that wasn't quite pleasing. The first thing I'm gonna do is look at it and see, okay, how could I have shown up differently? What could I have done differently? Um, those are the first things I'm thinking about. Like, what happened here? Let me assess what just happened. What could I do better? What would I do the next time? If this happened again, how would I handle that the next time? And it's all about me. It's not about, oh, she did that, he did this, oh, she should have did this, she should have did that. We often we're quick to say what someone else should have done, right? Should have done. But the sunglasses, they did what they thought they should do with the sunglasses that they had on. I would do what I would do. So this is what I would do, but hey, we wear two sets of sunglasses. So, okay, So then you give yourself permission to let that shit go and stop harping on it. Because nobody is alike. You know what I'm saying? We're all different beings. So who cares if somebody didn't do something the way you wanted it done? Like, are you going to freaking have an aneurysm because somebody didn't do something the way you would have done it? If you don't like it, and this is what we used to say, people used to say this when I would go to speaking engagements, and I would say it as well, if I'm the speaker. But if you feel like you could do this better than me, or this better than me, then maybe you should be doing this too, or you could always give guidance, and say, because a lot of people ask for suggestions, give them constructive feedback if you feel like things could be done in a more effective way. So anyway, I'm getting off topic. And I do that sometimes because I'm a big time storyteller. All right. So anyway, letting go. And we just shared several different ways, several different scenarios where you may have to just let some things go. You'll find that when you let things go, when you release them, when you heal from them, your vibration will raise. You will be happier once you let go of some of that luggage. Okay. Now, the last thing is the inner child. Oftentimes, the way we show up today is because of our inner child. What went on when you were a child? I remember, so I'm gonna tell a personal story. Like I haven't done several of those, but okay. So when I was a kid, a little person, how old was I? I don't know how old I was right now, but anyway, my dad used to say he was going to come and get me for the weekend because my parents were divorced. And he would no call, no show. Sound familiar? That's why I kept attracting men that no call, no showed, even as a teenager, to college, 18 to whatever, early 20s or whatever. I would always attract men that no call, no show. And I would give them 3 chances. Why? Because I had a daddy that did that when I was younger. You know what I mean? And he didn't know any better. He did the best that he could with the tools that was in his toolbox. Okay. So, because of the no call, no show, different things went on with me as a little person, because I would have my bags packed, ready to go. And then, I don't have a watch on, but that's what I'm pretending like I'm looking at. Looking at the watch, looking at the clock, and he ain't never come. And I'm like, okay. Didn't come, didn't call. Sound familiar, right? That's why I accepted that bullshit, because when I was little, I dealt with that bullshit. So then, it was kind of normal to deal with it, even though I didn't like it as a kid and I didn't like it when I was older. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that was something that created a trauma for me as a kid. So my inner child needed some healing, right? Then on top of that, it wasn't until I did some inner childhood regression exercises and I went back there when I was a kid and I saw what was happening around me. It wasn't until I did that exercise, and God, I think I was in my 30s when I did that exercise. I realized that not only did my father no call, no show, but my mother was also not there for me because she was pissed. And so when I went back there, I saw her sitting on the couch and she was irritated, and she wasn't tending to me because she was tending to her own feelings about being pissed at my father for standing me up, for not coming to get me, And so little Rorree needed a hug. Little Rorree needed some comforting because daddy stood her up. You know what I'm saying? But mama was so damn pissed that she didn't even notice that little Rorree needed a hug. So I went back there as adult Rorree and I gave little Rorree a hug. And I had a conversation with little Rorree. And little Rorree told me what was going on. And she told me what she needed. And she told me how she felt. And some of the things that she told me, I can't remember them all right now, but I do recall that they weren't what I expected, but it really, it was that she was not only neglected by her dad, but in a way she was neglected by her mom, and her mom was present. Okay. So I want you to talk to your inner child. I want you to take some time and I want you to breathe. And you know what? I don't even know if we should do this on this segment. How long have we been on here? I don't even see a clock on here. We can go ahead and do it right here versus me cutting off and cutting back on. All right. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you to inhale and exhale. Actually, I am going to stop it and then I'm going to come right back in and do the inner childhood regression exercise for you guys. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that I gave you some tips and pointers and information and shared my stories with you that would help you to know that you matter and to help you do the little things that you have to do for yourself so that you can show up like you matter, and that so you can feel it in here like you matter, and so that you can love yourself and love yourself the most. Okay. So we touched on doing it for yourself. We touched on taking off your mask, loving yourself, and letting go. And now in the next segment, we're going to do some inner childhood work. All right, y'all. Thank you. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this. Comment too if you have any stories that you want to share, or if you have any questions or anything, or if you just want to share a scenario that you went through. Please do that. In the description box, we also have a little bit about what's coming up. We have a program called I Choose Me, and it's going to be here on this platform, and we're going to be on some other platforms as well, doing little parts of the program in different places. But I want you to work on yourself over this next year and raise your vibration, and really, really, really start focusing on loving yourself the most. Okie dokie. All right. Ashe, ashe, ashe.